Hello everyone and welcome back to F1 2018 Driving School. It's been a couple months since I did the last episode, which was how to drive very fast. If you want to know how to drive very fast, then I'll leave a link to the video and the driving school playlist in the description down below, so go check that out, and also go check out the rest of my channel if it's no trouble, and if you don't like it then fair enough. But anyway, this is just how to drive without the racing line. It's actually quite simple. I know a lot of people probably just put off the whole idea of driving without the racing line. If you're one of those people, it's really simple to get a hold of, so I'm just going to run you through it now. Now bearing in mind this isn't the fastest lap in the world, okay? I could probably go about half a second quicker if I really did push it after, I don't know, a few laps, but that's not the point of the video. The point is just to teach you how to, find the racing line and then abide by it, and then hopefully not having to turn the racing line driving aid on at all. So enough blabbering on about the video now, let's get into it. So the first track that I'm going to be using as an example is Canada, coming through the Wall of Champions here. Now I said it was pretty easy concept to get a hold of, and I'm just going to explain it now along this lap. So you're always going to want to start on the outside and just basically go towards the inside at the apex. Start on the outside, go to the inside. That's all you got to remember. And as for braking points, which is what most people struggle at, just find things that stick out to make as your braking points, and then just focus on them slightly before the corner. Do not focus on them in the braking zone, otherwise you're just going to miss the apex and go straight off. Coming through here now, you're probably thinking, well, I'm just going against the concept now because I should really, if I'm going by what I said, go about here on the racetrack. But as you can see, that'll just scrub off time trying to get there. You want to carry the momentum into the apex, so you want to carry on straight on through here. And this is just an exception to some tracks. You just got to get used to it, guys. You should know whether, I'm going to go to the outside or whether I carry on the momentum. And now here, braking just before that 50-meter board, in the corner of my eye, making sure I look at it just before I enter the corner. Do not actually do it while you're entering the corner, while you're focused on braking, because you're going to want to focus on that apex and you're not going to want to go wide. Now here, I did accidentally scrape the wall a bit. Now, whatever, I was just pushing. It was a bit of a scrappy lap, but it just explains everything. And now here, once again, focusing on that braking point round about here for a split second, just to get an idea of where it is, locate it in your mind, and because you're going to want to be focusing on the apex right there in just a few moments time. So it's important to focus on it a little bit before you actually start to get into the apex, and then with the corner of your eye, as you're looking at the apex, you're just going to want to have that in the corner of your eye so you know where it is. In this case, it's that little orange gate there, or the kind of black box just above it, and you're going to want to be braking now down, turning after your brake, remember, and just use a little bit too much curb there, but like I said, as long as you get the concept of the driving line, which I'm sure you do, and then using all the road, remember, again, scraping it a little bit there, but just pussy might look a little bit too much. Now here, again, it's just really simple, that shadow, you don't even need to really look at anything here, and then using all the track on the left there to get because the wider obviously you go, the better your racing line is going to be. That's basically the simple way of putting it without going into it complex. You go out wide and then you go to the inside. It's a very simple concept. Now if you are struggling to find the racing line still, you'll see that if you look at the track, there's a bit of a transition of shades of colour, and that is the racing line. You can just see in the centre of the track there on your screen. You can see that sometimes, it's quite visible. So if you are struggling to find the racing line by any chance, because after these tips, then you shouldn't really have a problem with it at all after you practice it for a few hours. I can guarantee you practice what I've told you for a few hours and you'll have no problem with the racing line, turning off the racing line anymore. It should be a snap. And now coming through the Wall of Champions, once again, as you can see, going out as wide as possible, using up all the track. And so as long as you practice those steps, practice is the key, and then you should be fine. So just remember 3 key things and you should have no problem with this. Outside and then to the inside. You need to locate your braking point a little bit before you start to really focus on getting towards that apex. And then you keep that in the corner of your eye as you're going to the apex. And then using up all the track on exit. Just think of outside, inside, outside. That's just a way of thinking about it. And like at turn 1 in Canada, a bit of a iffy corner where you can't really go back to the outside. Well, then you just keep the car flowing through with the momentum, and eventually after enough practice you should be fine with it. So let's get on to another example around another track. So I thought I'd use my career mode for this. So as you can see, I've already just located my braking point, and I've obviously already done this. I know it from memory, but in your case you're going to want to locate it by about 200 meters before the actual braking point itself, if that makes sense, before you start to get into the regions of the corner. And as you can see, it is that artificial bit of grass there, that light green stuff, or another way, because obviously from far away you're not going to be able to see that, the 100 meter board, just before that, just remembering to go just before that, going to the outside, then to the inside, and then you'll transition off the apex. You're going to want to be running it wider. Now coming through here, as you'll see, I didn't really turn as much as what I should have there, hence why I ran a little bit wide, but you just always got to remember outside, inside, and then you transition off the apex on the outside. So here, once again, locating my braking point in the corner of my eye, really. I already know it from memory, but for you guys, you just want to be locating it before you get to the corner, and then while you're at the corner, getting ready to brake, you just want to have it in the corner of your eye so you know where to brake. Here, once again, it's a 100 meter board, braking at that, going from the outside to the inside, going back out to the outside, and I'm swooping back to the outside for this corner to go to the inside, and then back to the outside. That's all it really is, just a reoccurring pattern here. Once again, using up all the road on the outside, remember. And that's really basically all there is to it, I guess. But just remember one thing, don't expect to watch this video and then automatically be a master about the racing line on F1 2018. You need to practice these tips. That's all I can really say. You've got to practice what I've just told you, because the concept of it is piss easy. Now all you've got to do is just put in the work yourself and practice it, and eventually it should just become a natural thing to you. You shouldn't even have to think about the braking zone or anything. You should just be focusing on the corners, and that is eventually, because, you know, I had the racing line on. I think I turned it off when I moved to about, well, midway through when I had F1 2010, I'd moved away from the racing line, and then eventually I ended up turning off traction control and all driving aids by, apart from automatic gears, because I was on a pad, so I kind of preferred to keep it automatic. But I'd turned more or less every driving aid off in terms of, you know, driving line. I've done since 2010, then traction control, ABS in 2011, and then to be fair, it was F1 2015 where I did finally decide to go to manual gears. But you can see that, you know, as a whole, it's just practice at the end of the day. That's all I can say. If you're not going to practice, then there's no point in you even watching these videos. But just remember, that's all you have to do, and eventually it should just become just something natural to you, like I said. Remember, you'll also find other driving school videos in the playlist. I've made another one for this series on how to drive fast, which involves more of how to take the corners. So if you want to watch that, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description, so make sure you go check that out. Also, the lap that I just showed you, you'll see plenty of them in my career mode, so if you want to go and watch my career mode, it'll be appreciated. So, you know, that's all I really have to say. Keep practicing, and I'll see you guys next time.